Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. 1 second. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Sorry, I forgot to say. I always say something to the missus before I go live, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't said anything to her yet." I was like, literally 1 minute to go, and I was like, "Oh, I better better." Just pop down, before I go live. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint, episode 139 of the series here. Got 6 stories here to look at that we're going to be looking at as well. I'm going to share some information with you guys as well before we get into those stories, because I don't have anything related to the oil prices. There's oil-related prices. I've got 2 fantastic, funny videos. I can't wait to share them with you guys as well. Really, really 2 funny videos. They're both long videos, but they're going to be worth watching. That's for sure. A part of me was thinking I could save them for the anniversary show, but I thought, nah, let's just do them now. But I'm already building up some content for that. I do apologize. I haven't put out any main videos. The channel's really dead in terms of viewers. I've had less than 1,000 views in the last 48 hours, which is really, really bad. So, but I appreciate people who do continuously watch my videos, short videos that I pump out consistently, guys. Even though they're not picking up as much views as they used to here on YouTube, they're doing much better on TikTok still. So I will continue to put them out, and hopefully things will hopefully they will pick up at some point back on here on YouTube at some point. But I will continue to put out the short videos because I do think they are important news stories, even though they are quite short there. So just for reference, we're going to be looking at the first story we'll be looking at in a. So I'll just run down the headlines. All the links are in the description, guys, if you want to check out the stories yourself here. So X suspends 800 million accounts in 1 year amid a mass scale manipulation attempts. That's from The Guardian. Another one from The Guardian we'll be looking at is missing money, shipped chips, and a 350,000% profit. Key takeaway on AI phantom investments. That's a Guardian investigation we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at a story from the BBC about send reforms that are to strip away children's legal protections, a charity is stating there. We also have a story on Nigel Farage because he can't keep out the news. And the story from The Independent is that he is taking significant stake in Kwasi Kwarteng's Bitcoin company there. I wonder what that could mean for him there. We'll also be looking at an article from the Sunday Times where the headline is to ban pro-Iran march. MPs are telling the Home Secretary. We'll have a look into that one as well. And most people are familiar with this kind of headline anyway, but this, and I will say, do take this last story with a pinch of salt. This one's from the Telegraph. The headline is the Labour MPs are in talks to defect to the Green Party. It's a very interesting story there as well. Let me just say hello to who's in the chat before we get to 1 or 2 topics there. Good evening, Billy Kershaw. Hope you are doing well. Stephen Banker, one of our moderators. Good morning. Good morning. Good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. Jao, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Guys, do check out Jao's YouTube channel when you get a chance to as well. Ellie, good evening to you. Viper Scott, good evening to you. Normally you're working on Monday evening, my friend. It's good to see you in the chat. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Scott Hayes, good evening as well. Hope you're doing well there. Just seeing anyone else lurking in the chat. Thank you for the £2 super chat, my friend. Just to get things started, DPR, Ollie, the Quackers. Yep, the gang are here behind me. We'll have a look at them in a bit. Thank you so much for the £2 super chat, my friend. You were very generous this morning. Honestly, thank you. Mandy, good evening to you. Hope you are doing well there. Good to see you in the chat there. Just scroll down just to check if there's anybody else I haven't missed. Impersonate. I see you there in the chat as well. Just for reference, we are both on YouTube and on twitch.tv. I both have both chats up as well, just for reference there as well. Right, let's get started. So before I go into the normal news, I just wanted to share these with you guys. If you do have an excellent Twitter account, which I know most of you guys don't have, but I just wanted to share this with you guys anyway. I do recommend following Politics UK. They do have some really good stuff there. So I just wanted to give Rachel Reeve was speaking in the comments today, and Politics UK just put a brief summary of what Rachel Reeves' assessment of the UK economy in light of the Iran war. Basically, inflation likely to rise in the coming months. The energy price cap won't rise in April. The UK is ready to support release of global oil reserves, and that fuel duty increase will still go ahead for now. So that's a brief summary of what Rachel Reeves' assessment there. Another one there you can see just below, because I wanted to share that one as well here. So we finally got some details of the call that Donald Trump had with Keir Starmer. So Keir Starmer's call with Donald Trump last night was testy, with Trump having no time for Starmer, trying to defend his decision on Iran. Yeah, Donald Trump was obviously, he was not in a good mood in the conversation there. Starmer brought up the King's state visit to the US in April to cool tensions during the call. So mentioning the King obviously was something that definitely something that that kind of helped it there. So yeah, and I just want to comment on Max did a video about, you know, the King doing a visit to the States and the royals doing a visit to the States. I absolutely 100% agree with him. I think, yeah, we should be doing. I think you should send the royals out there, because they don't do bloody anything here anyway. So it makes sense if they can, you know how much he loves the Pompous, he loves the royal family, he likes the King and all that stuff. So why not use them to influence? Why not use them to influence the President of the United States, yeah, for a bit more favour towards us. Yeah, I'm totally fine with that here. It's covering shifts for co-workers on the holiday. No, ask lovely Viper Scott. So I do appreciate you being here, mate, my friend. I know you're not there. Mel, good to see you there as well. I just saw you there. Hope you are doing well as well. Right, let's have a look at this first story here from The Guardian. It's only just come up, so there's not a lot of information on it, but it is a curious one indeed. So the headline is, X has suspended 800 million accounts in 1 year amid a massive scale manipulation attempts. So the social media company tells MPs of continual fight against state-backed efforts, with Russia being the most prolific here. Let me read a bit more into this before I share my thoughts. So Elon Musk's X said it has suspended 800 million accounts over a 12-month period as it fights the massive scale of attempted to manipulate the platform. The social media company told MPs it was continuously fighting the state-backed attempts to hijack the agenda on its network, with Russia being the most prolific state actor, followed by Iran and China. As part of the battle against such contact, X suspended 800 million accounts in 2024 for breaching its rules on platform manipulation and spam, although it did not reveal which of those accounts related to foreign interference. X has approximately 300 million monthly users worldwide. So they said they suspended 800 million accounts, and it has approximately 300 million monthly users worldwide, which is a lot. It's a lot of accounts. That's a lot of accounts to manage here for X there. And I have 2 accounts, one for wrestling work and then my normal account, which most people follow me on there anyway. So what does this say that X are doing enough? Here's the thing, like, I know that X is is very toxic. I don't really get into debates and discussions on X. I very rarely do. People who follow me on the platform know that I very, very rarely get into discussions on the platform, because it's just not worth it for me. It's not worth it for more importantly, for my mental health more than anything. Like, if I see something that I don't like, I will, rather than engage, I just ignore it, because sometimes the best option is not to respond at all for certain things on there. And it is, unfortunately, it is a cesspit for mainly the right wing. And it's also been one of the biggest issues has been the misogyny on the platform, which X has not done enough of there. We know that a lot of people abandoned the platform after Trump's victory, because it really pushed for Donald Trump to win. X and Elon Musk pushed it super hard there as well. I see another story on the right-hand side there. It says X is to ban users from earning revenue if they post unlabeled AI-generated war videos as well. So it's attempts to stop people manipulating people into certain videos and whatnot, apparently, as well there. Wilfredo Fernandez, a government affairs executive at the platform's parent company, X Corp, said that there are efforts every single day to create inauthentic networks of accounts. So speaking to MPs on the Foreign Affairs Committee via a video link on Monday, Fernandez said attempts to manipulate the platform or flood it with spam have not subsided, and several 100 million accounts have been taken down in the latter part of last year as well. Fernandez actually was quite confident that the remaining accounts on X were authentic. What do you guys honestly think about this so far? Still chatting to each other there. Yeah, I just don't like. Here's the thing, right? He talks about free speech, Elon Musk, right? He talks about the platform has free speech and whatnot, but I still think that but the problem is like, and a lot of people feel this way, like it's just not a fair place to make arguments and cases on the platform. It is very, very toxic, and there's a lot of hate on there. There's a lot of hate on there, and for me, it's much more harder for the abuse that I would get in comparison to a woman or a person of color or a politician. Even in all aspects of life, like even footballers, like if they have a bad game or whatnot and they go on X, like they're going to get slated, for, oh, you could have hit that shot or whatever. It can really, this is a platform that doesn't do enough to protect people. Doesn't do enough to protect people from misogyny, from racism, from bigotry, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't do nowhere near enough. I think Blue Sky does a very good job. I can't speak on Threads because I don't scroll Threads and I don't scroll TikTok either, so I can't comment on either platforms or Instagram. I don't scroll them personally enough yet to say that. But like, how realistic is it that they suspended 800 million accounts? I don't know. I know a lot of accounts. There's so many fake accounts are created all the time on social medias now. So I'm not sure how realistic, that they suspended 800 million accounts. I actually thought the number would be higher, more than 300 million users. I actually thought the number would be higher, considering the world's population. So I'm actually surprised I'm actually surprised it's not higher, but I can also understand why a lot of people did switch off on it after Trump won the election. Only his type of speech is allowed, in my opinion. Well, I never directly. I don't think I've ever. I think maybe once I've directly engaged with Musk, but I never like challenged the platform by saying stuff on the platform or to him, because there's no point. Because if you do, you're just gonna get silenced. Like, no one's gonna see your account. The end of the day, the reality is it's a private company. And people have to remember that. X defies manipulation accounts as those engage in bulk, aggressive, or disruptive activities that mislead others and or disrupts their experience. Well, if that's the case, then how come Nigel Farage is still on the platform? It refers to spam as unsolicited repeated actions that affect other accounts, often meaning a stream of low-quality content. Fernandez said Russia sought to undermine the 2024 US presidential election and stoked division with a large number of accounts attempting to flood the zone with a particular type of narrative. X has been criticized for its approach to content moderation since it was acquired by Musk, the world's richest person, in 2022. When it was known as Twitter in the UK, for instance, it helped spread inflammatory speculation in the aftermath of Southport attacking, in which 3 children were murdered. Yeah, that was one of the things that really infuriated me, and X was very, very slow to respond to that issue. Spam accounts have been particularly a bear bug for Musk, who used his concerns about the authenticity of accounts on the platform as one of the main reasons for attempting to back out of the 2022 takeover. Tesla chief exclusive ultimately agreed to buy a platform with warnings from experts that he could not drop the takeover without legal consequences. Yeah, so he ended up having to go through there. I think some people have said that he regrets getting the account, but I'm not really 100% sure if he actually did. It's hard to know for sure. I think AI's biggest driver is to manipulate photos and footage, so it never happened. I'm tired. I tried setting up a new Facebook for myself a while back. First login was selecting photos. Tears 1 hour later, account suspended, no appeal. Like, what the F did I do? Can you not create an account without your photo? I'm sure there's an option where you can just... Most accounts say you have an option to add it later. At least that's what I thought so anyway. When I think of someone I cannot trust, I think Musk. I honestly think that if Musk was not in the political spectrum, he would be a much more respected person. I just wish he wasn't political. I really, really do. Personally, it sucks, but I still use I don't think I can see a situation. I know there has been times where people have called for X to be suspended from the UK. If they ever did that, I would just get a VPN to be able to still have access to it, because I still think it's a very, very useful source of information, and you guys know that because a lot of there's a lot of content I find through X as well. It's not just a case of just searching the web and looking up stuff. X is a very good source of information. There's some very, very good Twitter accounts, even for wrestling for me as well. It's very useful in terms of information. In terms of discussion and social media, it's not that good. But in terms of news related, I think it's very, very good there. People do tend to get a lot of their 33% of X accounts are spam bots. Regan in 2025. Yeah, I do agree that a lot of bots are just created over and over again, and they just add a bunch of numbers behind, like loads of numbers and letters behind it. Like if I go right now, I'm not going to show you guys here, but if I go into my chat box, they deleted it, have they? Yeah, normally, I guess they cleared it. So I actually had, yeah, I guess they cleared it. So normally in here, this is the message request box. This is usually full of spammed bots. Full and full and full. Everyone had that issue on X. But it looks like they've cleared a lot of it. It looks like they've cleared a lot of them, because there were hundreds and hundreds. And I remember one time spending 10 minutes trying to clear some of them, and I was just like, this is pointless, and I just stopped. So that tells me definitely cleared some, because that request box was full of accounts. So that's a positive there. Right, it's definitely a positive there. Right, let's have a look. As someone has mentioned AI, so we are going to be talking about AI here. This is a very interesting story here from The Guardian as well. So missing money, shipped chips, and a £350,000 profit. Key takeaways on AI phantom investments here. So a Guardian investigation has put the UK government's AI plans under the microscope, and here are the details. Let's have a look and see what these details are then, chat. So the Guardian investigation has examined a series of massive AI investments announced by the government over the past 2 years, comparing what was promised and what has so far been delivered. 2 years is a long time. The investigation centres on two companies backed by chipmaker Nvidia and is essential to the UK's AI plan, N-Scale and CoreWeave. It found that large promised sums do not represent real investment into the UK economy, and that new data centres are not in fact new, and that a giant supercomputer is set to be online later this year is still being used by a construction company in Essex. So it sounds like that a lot of them promised big investment in AI and whatnot, and it just turns out to be folly. Why am I not surprised? Like, here's the thing, like, if a company is going to invest, it's going to want money back in return. How much money they're going to invest is going to be a question here. So, number one, a supercomputer centre is set to be built this year. It's still in scaffolding yard in Loynton. The Guardian visited a site in Essex that is supposed to host one of the most powerful AI computing centres ever built by N-Scale. The government and N-Scale said the supercomputer is supposed to be up by the end of this year, and it's still in scaffolding. The site is being used as a scaffolding yard by a different company, while N-Scale said more than a year ago they had already bought the site. Land records seem to show that it is not registered as the owner of the land. N-Scale is very unlikely to finish construction a top-tier supercomputer there this year. So they're basically, it sounds like they're just sitting on it there. It could very well be the case that because they own the land, they may end up selling the land, potentially. And maybe they just, yeah, that's very concerning there. That's not good. Second one here, the UK government has not checked the numbers when it comes to massive AI investment. The Guardian has asked the government about key investments worth billions of pounds, including from Nscale and CoreWeave. The government said that these numbers came from the companies themselves and that it had no mechanisms in place to audit them. It could not say what these investments involved, equipment, capital, or something else. So you're just taking the word of private investors that they're definitely bringing in this money. So all this shouting about, oh, we're getting record-breaking investments, you know, from AI and whatnot, and you haven't even fact-checked their numbers, and it's very much possible that they could be chatting bullshit to you. Labour. Asked about a contract is said to have signed to build the supercomputer in Leyton. The government did not answer. Instead, it said the entire related investment, 2.5 billion, did not involve a formal contract, but an intention to commit capital. But that's not a guarantee. So you're if you're saying that this is supposed to be money coming from AI companies, but if you're not even checking this, That's another bad one. Some investments are not money, but computer chips relocated to the UK. Wow. So Nscale and CoreWeave have both indicated that large parts of their massive investment will take the form of NVIDIA chips, which they will buy and place inside data centers in the UK. From there, these chips will be rented out to users in the UK, including US tech companies. So, for example, Nscale's 2.5 billion investment in the UK may in large part mean that Nscale plans to buy a massive number of chips from NVIDIA, chips made in Taiwan by a US company, and put these in a data center in the UK, and from there rent them to Microsoft. This does not mean 2.5 billion will be injected into the British economy. Yeah, how does the British economy benefit from this? This sounds like just money being shifted from one private company to another. How do we benefit from this? And as another example, in 2024, CoreWeave and the government announced a £1 billion investment that, as it was described, would bring 2 new data centers to the UK. CoreWeave said that this would create jobs. New data centers were not built. Instead, CoreWeave put NVIDIA chips into existing UK data centers. It said that these chips and associated logistical and personal costs are the bulk of the investment. This was an industrial standard approach, it said. So the government, again, either were telling porcupines or the company's telling porcupines to them here. Hi, Benjamin. Good to see you there in the chat. Meanwhile, the Chinese are building experimental data centers underwater. Underwater they are. Interesting. Is that out on the ocean, Jal? Do you know? Is that out on the ocean? Generally curious. Data centers underwater. That's very interesting. A Lancashire AI hub will require a nuclear reactor's worth of power. Yeah, this is one of the biggest problems is obviously going to be power. How you power all this stuff as well. This is one of the big problems I have about data centers, but about building data centers in the UK. And I think it's been discussed before in this here, where we talked about here on this channel about how do we cool these data centers because it requires water, which our environment needs a lot more than these data centers. And then obviously there's the power issue that you're going to get with them. So yeah, this is a big issue. So this January, the government says that CoreWeave was going to partner with the Scottish firm DataVia to build an AI growth zone with in between 500 megawatts and 1 gigawatt of private wire renewable energy. CoreWeave investment here is 1.5 billion, which again is not a figure the government has checked. So 1 gigawatt of renewable energy is the output of an entire nuclear reactor, or Scotland's largest offshore wind farm, which is the area of roughly 1,100 square miles. DataVia said that this will be private wire energy. That is, it will bypass the public grid. There are no plans on file to DataVia to build nuclear reactor or giga wind farm in Lancashire. So where the hell is the power going to come from then? So what, are we taking out our Scottish people's homes? Is that what we're doing here? Yeah, never mind. Yeah, they're not going to need all that power, guys. We're going to give it all to the data. Go give it all to this AI growth zone. Doesn't sound good again. Number 5, key companies have spotty records but might make a fortune anyway. CoreWeave, one of the biggest tech IPOs of last year, with its share price nearly quadrupling in the months after its stock floated on the market. A bit soaring AI rhetoric, and now, however, the company is being sued by shareholders who allege it concealed vital information about delays in its data center build-out, which caused the stock to fall when the information came out. Oh. So people got shares in the company, and they found out that the company is not actually progressing with their investments here. Yeah, that's not ideal. Seems like a waste, or all seems like a bit of waste of time, to be honest. It sounds like to me that the government hyped up AI investments so much, and it sounds like to me that there's not really AI investment here, according to this Guardian investigation. CoreWeave said it was aware of the suit, adding that the claims are here without merit and would defend itself vigorously. Whether or not the allegations are true, some of CoreWeave's early pre-ISPO investors are likely to have made a fortune in the months after it went public. Nscale, meanwhile, allocates a number of its shares at a price of 1p in October. Today, the company raised a £2 billion funding round on a valuation of $14.6 billion. These shares are worth many times that, and an analysis to examine the figure told The Guardian it's kind of 350,000% return of investment. Shareholders could make a fortune when Nscale does a public offering. Just depends how on the AI hype at the time. Yeah, the number one thing, obviously, for them is just making money, but how much of it they're actually doing here. And this is actually the site in Essex that's supposed to host it as well. So they've literally taken a picture, and this is by the end of the year, guys, what's behind this gate is supposed to be a massive AI data center, supposedly, is what is supposed to be there. But yeah, sounds pretty bollocks, yeah, there, doesn't it? I was going around watching tech videos, says Jao. What's that on one of your latest videos, Jao? Saw some news that they were trying again. Or yeah, if there's one thing nuclear ain't, it's cheap. Well, it's not just cheapness, nuclear. It takes time as well. Yeah, that costs the time as well. And the thing with all these data centers again is not just the centers itself, but the water as well, because they've all got to. You know, for me, it's not just about the power for these data centers. If we ever get them in the UK, it's about I'm just as concerned about the environment. I'm worried about the damage it's going to have to the environment, because they're going to be sucking up a lot of water that we need to drink. And our water structure is not very good right now, as we have covered many times, in particular down here in the UK. And I'm sure my friends up in Scotland would not want their precious water being utilised for data centres at their expense. So yeah, this is for me, like, it almost seems like it comes across a bit like an AI scam, but it's a lot of talk right now and not a lot of actual action. Yeah, I don't think the government are in a very good light, for bigging up the AI investment, and yet since then we haven't actually seen it, you know. Just in time for the AI crash, no doubt. How about some decent bloody buses? Yeah, we definitely need better buses. You know, it infuriates me that London has such great bus service, and yet we can't seem to replicate it elsewhere. Like, God bless Andy Burnham and what he's done in Manchester, but we really should be able to. We should be treating, you know, everywhere in the whole of the UK with the same standards, and we're not. It is quite infuriating indeed. I saw it here. Oh, 1 second. Let me. Is that the link for it? Let me have a quick nose. Let me just mute that a second. They actually got any pictures? Let me 1 second, guys. Let me YouTube with camera. Can I bring that over? Oh no, that's why. 1 second, guys. Let's see if we can. No, close that. Stupid machine. Right, let's have a looky then. Let's have a listen. Oh, it's 3 minutes. Let's have a listen, guys. We'll have a look at the next. Let's have a listen to this then. Thanks for sending this. Let's have a look. It doesn't even have sound.
China is working on an ambitious plan.
That's because my headphones are not plugged in. Would be helpful. Apologies. Right, let me start that again. Do we really need the music?
Is working on an ambitious plan to literally store the internet under the waves. China has launched what might be the world's first underwater data center. Hidden under the waves, cooled by the sea, and churning through the digital backbone of tomorrow, the concept is bold, but not entirely new. Why underwater? Well, underwater or submerged data centers have been theorized for years because the ocean offers natural cooling and stable environmental conditions. But execution has always been risky. China's version is not a toy project. It's designed for serious scale with energy-efficient servers and marine-grade infrastructure. The site is off the Shanghai coastline inside a coastal area where ocean temperatures are manageable. The salty water cools the servers, reducing or eliminating the need for energy-hungry air conditioning or massive HVAC systems. But an underwater data center must survive harsh conditions. Corrosion, pressure, humidity, marine life, all of these fight against delicate electronics. So components must be sealed, ruggedized, and built for long-term immersion. China's engineers say that they have developed special enclosures and cooling systems that let servers run submerged without needing air ventilation. The design preserves performance while protecting hardware. The timing makes sense. Power is expensive. Land-based data centers are bottlenecked by cooling, land costs, and regulatory hurdles. To scale further, new frontiers are needed. Think about it, your photos, your chat logs, your streaming data, flowing in a box under the waves of Shanghai. It's immersive in more ways than one. So what could go wrong? Quite a lot if engineers are not precise. Powering the facility requires submarine cables, redundant lines, fail-safes, and any cable cut or malfunction could mean sudden downtime. This means maintenance becomes harder. To repair or upgrade, you must either raise the modules to the surface, where cooling is lost, or send down specialized diving systems. Marine conditions shift. Water salinity, waves, storms, biofouling, these can damage enclosures over time. The protective outer shell must be robust enough to last years under stress. So why now? Well, for countries with expensive real estate or limited grid infrastructure, underwater centers offer a compelling option. The challenge will be replicating the tech with reliability. Already, cloud giants have tested submerged modules. Microsoft deployed an experimental underwater data center in Scotland years ago to test the idea. But these were short-term experiments, not full-scale production units. And why does this matter? Well, if the China model succeeds, this could open a new chapter in computing infrastructure, where data flows in pipes beneath the ocean, and our digital infrastructure literally lives under the waves. So next time your video buffers, imagine it traveled under the sea through a data center nestled in pressure and salt, humming away quietly.
That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. That's very interesting. Yeah. I can actually see that. I can actually see that. I can definitely see that for sure. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to just oh no, hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna literally put that at the end. I'm gonna put that full video there. And by the way, don't worry about if the music is copyright or anything like that, which I don't think it is, because I don't monetize these live streams for reference, guys, as you guys know. I just wanted to, there we go. Just put it on there for people who watch it later on. Thank you for sharing that, appreciate it. That's definitely very interesting indeed. Yeah, underwater makes all the logical sense, data centers, rather than on land. This is the same point I make about wind farms. We should be having wind farms out in the ocean. There's an argument that solar farms should be out in the ocean as well. But again, like all the challenges they said about the challenges about having data centers and the environment changing around them and all that kind of stuff, it's the same thing with wind farms, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. Like we have, there's space out in the oceans. It's just a case of being able to manage weather and the ever changing climate, and we can utilize more of our land for things that we need, like farms and whatnot. The problem is as well is that while obviously I'm going off track in terms about winds and solar. The problem is obviously people don't like seeing lots of wind and solar farms. But in terms of these data centers and the idea of underground cables, well, we're already kind of doing that right now, because literally some of you who aren't even here in the UK, the only reason you're able to see this live stream and hear me is because of underground cables. The underground cables that connects the internet that from here in the UK to Europe and all the way over to America and different parts of the world. So if we already do this for the internet, can we not do this for data centers? Makes logical sense. The other thing as well with these data centers, I think that's really sticking in my mind here, and I think me and Pagan need to discuss this on Thursday. Hopefully I can find another story related to this. This is going, how much of an effect will, let's say for instance, they make this idea a success, right? And they're successfully able to build data centers underwater, right? How much of that will contribute to warming our oceans? Because again, as we all know, it requires water and cooling to keep cool. How much is that going to contribute to our global global warming and the climate change? Because that will play a part. That will play a part. And I think that's definitely a question worth asking ourselves there. AI itself is not commercially viable without massive funding by companies. They might crash at any moment. Reminds me of .com bubble. Yeah, I do think there's going to be a crash. There is going to be. I think what will happen is that they kind of haven't. I think there will be. I think in a way, Joe, it wouldn't be surprising if we had a crash, and then they found the perfection of AI. Possibly. It's hard to know for sure. It's hard to know for sure. But I do think, it makes logical sense to have it underwater. But yeah, like everything, it all comes with a cost, and how the hell you keep it from surviving the climates as well as keeping the water out. All sorts of questions is going to be very difficult indeed. How am I not supposed to use my tech glasses in rain? They're gonna. How are they gonna keep a data hump site safe in salt water? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you hit it on the head there. The CM model seems to be massively more efficient. They have seemed to have spent too much on recoup of capex. It'll make money, but not as much as they would have spent in my be my £5 bet. Yeah. It's the thing is that they're investing now in hoping to make profit, but some of these AIs are flopping, and these data centers, like, they really, really want them to do well. And I think, if anyone's going to do it first, it's going to be China, because obviously America are not doing enough there. America's preoccupied with something right now, aren't they? To be fair. I'll come to the next story in just a moment, guys. Just want to say thank you. Good morning, shall we say, to Steve Morn over in New Zealand. Thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Hope you had a nice weekend as well. Evening, everyone. Hope you are all well. I am, my friend. Thank you. Had a very nice, good couple of days as well. Here is the link to the site there. What is this? Microsoft finds underwater data centers are reliable, practical, and use energy sustainable. I am, instead of me reading this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to that article, and we'll have a look at that one with myself and Pagan together. I think that will be very good to discuss together. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. because it is going to be because it is something that's going to be related to eco because it does affect the climate there. So thank you for sending that to me. Appreciate that. I'm pretty sure we will continue that. It's definitely something worth us discussing. That is for sure. Right, let's carry on there. Thank you again, Steve, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. Right, let's switch gears away from AI and data centers for now, guys. Something very important is, of course, our children's future. Story from the BBC here. So, send reforms are to strip away children's legal protections, the charity has said here. If charities are saying this is a cause for concern. Now, there have been some... So, I'm getting mixed messages, okay? So, I'm hearing some people like the changes and reforms that are coming. And then I'm hearing from charities and teachers on the ground that they're not keen on this. So, I'm getting mixed messages about this. Now, what do I honestly think of the reforms? I don't like the fact that some children could miss out. That's the thing I don't like. I don't like that that it's already difficult enough for teachers. And for me, I want to reduce the workload on teachers. And I want children who have these extra needs that need help. Because it's our bloody duty to make sure that these children are given additional care because of what they go through. But we also know that these kinds of children are being increasing in numbers as well. And that's I do use that factor to what's happening with regards to the cost of living and more people struggling out there, because that is definitely something that is the case as well. Billy Kershaw, freshwater lakes. One thing I do not want to see is a data center being built in a water lake. In a freshwater lake. I think that's extremely dangerous idea, because again, it's going to warm up that water, and it could suck a lot of the lake away. I think it should only be out in the ocean, underwater data centers. I would not want to do it in a lake. I would be vehemently against that personally. But can I see America do it? Yes, because it's America. Good evening, Witchy Goth. Hope you are doing well. And I was there for about half an hour, and then I had to switch there. So hope you guys, for those who joined Witchy Goth live stream, thank you for joining her there earlier. I appreciate it. But yeah, do check out the next time she goes live there as well. She did say she'll be going live at 1 o'clock on Friday to compensate my Friday afternoon live stream, which I do appreciate. So there'll be a lot of live streams on Friday, which actually is fine Friday, 1 o'clock, because normally it's the agenda with Phil Morehouse and Graham Hughes. But that's not going to happen this Friday because Graham Hughes is in Ginger Island. So the time slot is free for you, Witchy. So that's even better there. So that's actually a really good thing there. So yes, that works out well for everyone there. Right, let's read more into this, guys. So the government's plans to reform the special education needs and disabilities that SEND system in England will strip away legal protections for children and young people needing support, a charity has warned. So it does say a charity there. So the independent provider for special education advice, the IPSEA, a charity specialising in English SEND law, said the reforms would weaken individual rights to support. That's very concerning indeed. The changes were announced last month as part of a broader schools white paper. A policy document lays out the plans for legislation. Speaking at the time, the Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson said every child will get a brilliant support they deserve when they need it, as routine and without a fight. The chief executive of the IPSEA, Madeleine Cassie, welcomed some reforms, including plans to boost the funding and specialist support available in mainstream schools. But said that improvements could be made without weakening the legal rights of that family relies on. So why are we reducing the legal rights here? Legal rights are not optional extras, and any new system must ensure that support is statutory, enforceable, and backed by a clear right of appeal, she added. If reform is to rebuild confidence with families, it must strengthen and not strip away the protections that children and young people depend on. So, under the current rules in England, if a child or a young person needs more support than is typically provided in a mainstream school, Their parent or carer can apply for an education, health, and care plan, an EHCP. This identifies the needs and sets out the support they should receive. They also have a legal right to all the support laid out in that plan. So they have a legal right there. In total, 639,000 young people up to the age of 25 have EHCP in England, a number that is more than doubled in decade. I don't know if we had ECHP when I was a child, but I definitely would have been under that given my issues. Under the government's plans, by 2035, only children with the most complex needs will qualify for EHCP, and the support will be legally entitled to set out in new specialist provision packages. Can we open this? Sorry, I know you guys can't see this. Just give me 1 second. We will appoint an expert panel and an independent chair who will be responsible. Sorry, let me see if I can get screen for you guys. Sorry. Can I borrow you? Yes, thank you. I'm just going to borrow this one for a moment for you guys. We'll appoint an expert panel and independent chair. This is from the government's website. Independent chair who will be responsible for improving the quality of SEND evidence as well as developing a new specialist provision package that will underpin the specialist system. This will be treated with wider professional parents. Every child is unique. Once established, special provision will be reviewed by the independent panel. Will support children and young people with disability. Provide learning care. Just seeing what the league complex function communication. Yeah, parameters. Yeah, that's the word there. Not guarantees. I don't like that. That's very concerning indeed. Yeah, the charity was right to point this out. Children who need this package often manifest with behaviours that challenges. Package is based around adapting delivery of the curriculum, including providing a different environment. It sounds like a lot of word salad. Package will support young people with emotional needs, manifest and behaviour. This may be, they may be autistic, which I definitely have. ADHD and have a language disorder. May have others learning needs and speech, language and communication needs. A child, young person with mental health needs, they would be addressed by health services that are deemed appropriate. Package will provide an educational experience that is highly structured, consistent, and responsive, which integrates therapeutic inputs such as speed, language, and therapy counselling, evidence-based emotional literary program. Package will support children and young people whose social and emotional needs are manifest as withdrawal, disengagement, or shutdown. Physical disability. Yeah, what about the legality? That's what I'm curious about. I'm curious about the legality there. You got this one? Is this also the... Oh, this is just another BBC one. Key changes at a glance. Yeah, this was back in February. They've just... This is the BBC one. Our legal documents identify pupils' needs and set out what they need. Local authorities responsible until 2018 was relatively stable at 2.8%. Yeah, this is what I said. Yeah, this is the number. Yeah, this is about this article is about a couple of weeks old from the BBC here. This is the most children receiving special education needs here, and we can see. I will come to your super chat, Steam Bank. I haven't missed it. Don't worry. Yeah, 1.7 million. That's that. Yeah, special education needs have been going up and up and up. Introduction of ISPs, individual support plans. All children will have a legal right to an ISP, and then nursery, school, and college will be responsible for consulting with parents and drawing them up. They will be reviewed at least once a year. Parents are not happy with what's in a child's ISP. They will have to go through a school complaint system before being able to complain to the local authority or the government. So it sounds like they have to go through some legal loopholes. Don't like that. The government described them as flexible plans that set out what a child needs day to day, as opposed to the EHCP, which is a framework given to them, giving them legal entitlement to support. Yeah, there's the key word, legal entitlement to support. Yeah, which was what the EHCP is, and they're changing it. So they're taking away. Yeah, the key thing is the legality. You're not gonna get that's make it harder to complain. I do think, yeah, that's another thing as well. That's really, really bad for the children. New ways got that all children will send have an ISP. What the ISP said about their needs determine which layer of support they will receive. Target support that might involve pupils needing help. However, only children with special provision packages as part of the specialist support layer are intended to qualify for new ECHPs. The Department of Education will be based out on those packages and will give children a legal right to. The Education Secretary said the EHCPs will be based on those packages and will give children legal right to support the sale. Government wants children to be able to switch between these three layers if and when they need change. So, okay. They want to make it a tier system. I think they're making it far more complicated than it needs to be. I need to read up more on this to be clear, but it comes across to me reading this, guys, that it seems far more complicated. I don't like it. You're 10, you'll work it out. Sounds like they're making it more difficult to get, in my opinion. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Vibe Scott. It's definitely what I'm feeling from this here. Sorry, I'll come to your comments in just a moment. Thank you, Stephen Banker, for the £2 super chat. For the Ollie Appreciation Society, share this. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Stephen Banker. I didn't miss your super chat. I do appreciate it there. Thank you so much for that. Are you going to bed? All right. Thank you for that, Stephen. I appreciate that. If you're still there. Friend had one of these things set up for their kid. She or kid didn't even meet half the people who decided what was best for the kid. 2 years later, he's in a special school and thriving. More hoops to jump through, not good enough. Yeah, that's the thing that really infuriates me. They were making things more complicated. Shocked. I think this comes across to me more like, this doesn't come across to me about how we can help children. This sounds more like, to me, is how can we technically save money in a little bit, because the current system we have does the guaranteed legal framework, and there's a lot of money involved in that, and I feel like that they're shifting that all into the public system, the public school system, rather than having it individually separate. It comes across to me a little bit like, let's try and tell parents, they encourage parents to do more. Let's try and give teachers a bit more, put a bit more on their shoulders. How can we make it look like we're doing more while also saving ourselves a bit. I think money is a factor to this. I really do think money's playing a factor to this, which I'm not happy about. It stinks to me as a case of, as some of you guys put in the chat there. I think, yeah, that what they're trying to do is make parents jump through hoops in order to get this, and saying, are you absolutely sure your child needs this? Are you absolutely sure your child needs this? And we saw from that graph, that the numbers are going up, right? So this system, in theory, might bring that number down, might bring those numbers down, to make it look like, oh, we're actually less kids are needing it now because, you know, the number's going down. But what they actually might do is inadvertently kick a lot of children who need it into the public domain, expected just to walk on their own. Yep, it's how to save money by putting in council responsibility. Schools are done by the councils. Yeah, here, where is it? It said here. It said there you've got to go through. Yeah, it said you've got to go through. You can't go to the government first. You have to go through. You've got to go through the yeah. Supporting a young child obviously depends on what their banded package. Yeah, banded package here. Yeah. ISPSA is also concerned that the legal rights will attach a new individual support plan that aren't as strong as the rights. There you go. Literally just says it right there. The IPSCA is also concerned that the legal rights attached to a new individual support plan, the IPS, aren't as strong as the rights when it comes down to EHCP. Under the reforms, all children and young people with SEND will have their legal right to an ISP. So currently, people who are on SEND will go straight into those rights. But it's basically from there on, it's a case of, well, it's going to be interesting. It'll be like, well, you know, making the case is going to be an absolute arm and a leg. The government describes them as flexible plans that set out the child's needs day to day. Doesn't seem flexible at all. IPSA warns, however, that it won't be a clear, enforceable duty to deliver provisions laid out in ISP, and that a plan without enforceable provision is not protected. Yeah. Reduce risk for them. Under the government's proposal, a parent who's unhappy with their child ISP, yeah, we just read this bit, yeah. Yeah, that's the key bit there. Describe channel plan changes speech needs tribunal as a disaster. Plan changes special needs tribunal as a disaster of weakening family existing rights. There was a record 25,000 tribunals brought in 2024 in which parents challenged the level of SEND support offered by their councils. Over 95% of the cases were won by parents. There you go. There you go. They want to stop this. The government wants to stop this. 25,000 tribunals in 2024, 2025, guys. This number will drop with the new changes because they won't have as much rights. Under the current system, judges on a SEND tribunal have the power to name a specific school and override local authority concerns to have a child placed there. I argued that the new proposals appear to remove the tribunal's power to name a school, which will give local authorities more power to control placement choices, while offering a list of schools that families can choose from instead. Sounds like they're move the goalpost. If so, says the risks more children and young people being left without a school or college place meets their individual needs. BBC has learned of plans for national demonstration in response to the government's white paper. It says plans for a national demonstration. This will be led by a Save Our Children's Right campaign of coalition organisations due to take place in the coming weeks. The consultation is open. The group said the aim of demonstrators was not to resist the changes, but to ensure that any reform strengths rather than judgments, the legal foundations on which the children and young people are sent depend. This is the case they need to make here regarding NOPS's concerns at the time of the white paper. So the plans would be make mainstream schools more inclusive while delivering better. She said the plan reforms will take children with SEND from sidelines and exclusively seeing every child. Government plans are currently open for consultation until the middle of May. Yeah, people need to fight this. Yeah, if people don't fight the legalities of this, so many children are going to suffer. So many children are going to suffer here. They've got to challenge this. Charities, teachers, organisations, they've got to challenge the legality. They've got to keep the same. The current legal system needs to be saved as they transfer over to ISPE, the IPSA one, because otherwise you're going to find so many children kicked out of these needs, and it's not a cool. And the situation, and we know, and the thing is right. Like, again, I have to tie this back to something we've spoken about before, guys, and that is the cost of living. And the cost of living, and we know that more people are struggling out there. The numbers are not lying. We're hearing it from people on the streets. You know, people are, the pay is not as good. Children's futures are very much in question, and it is tied to that. And if we're not providing the support that these children with these needs need, we're wasting away our education. We're supposed the term education really, really does matter. But how much of that investment you put in, how much you put in there, really does matter. I'm not keen. The legality is the thing that really upsets me the most. Like I can accept this tier system, if it because obviously it needs to be. I can accept the tier system if it helps the child in a specific area. What I can't accept is that if parents are taken off the system, that their challenges are not as strong, because parents know what's better for their children. I really am worried about our children's educational futures here, especially that these most vulnerable children. You know, I can just see swathes of stories here. We're going to be making it's possible we could end up with more dumber children as a direct result of this decision. For me, the key thing is the legality there. We need to have those same legalities in there. And Viper Scott, I'm sure Viper Scott, as you mentioned in the chat, I definitely feel like there's something to do with keeping money, spending less money than they need to in the education. I definitely feel a sniff of that as well. You know, it's tough enough for parents out there, especially with the poorest ones. Backbenchers happy with this? I don't know, is my honest answer, Billy. I think, yeah, if you put the legality stuff to them, that will definitely cause for concern. I don't think, yeah, they're entirely on board with it. I don't know if Phil Morehouse done a video on this, but I know he's a bit more of a Labour stooge, but I kind of want his feedback on it as well. That legality bit is definitely concerning. Oh God, we're doomed. Nah, not yet. We're not dead. We're not doomed yet. It's the same with DW PIP tribunals. So Sarah Davis. I can't speak on that personally, Sarah. Good to see you in the chat. I hope you're doing well. I can't personally speak on that there. Tax the rich. That will help pay for it, says Christina. Now, on this one, Christina, and good to see you there in the chat. No, it's for me, the money should come straight out of private schools, because for me, the gap between state and private has just been going, and we need to go a bit more like that. As I'm sure you guys are getting it there. You know, under the Conservatives, it was going wider and wider, but we need to do this. We need to close the gap there, because it's far, far, far better for private schools. They're abomination. They are absolute abomination. Anyway, guys, let's take a little break. We're already past 9 o'clock here, and we've got 3 more stories to cover here. I'm glad we had a good discussion on this, because it was definitely needed indeed. So I hope you guys enjoy this funny video. This is going to be definitely a funny one, especially if you like board games. Board games? Yes, board games, guys. This is a great one from Foil and Arms, guys. It's called When the Bad Guy Wants to Play a Game.
Agent Murphy. Agent Wilkes. Nice of you to drop in.
It's over, Petrov. We have you surrounded. Tell us where the bomb is.
Black or white?
I don't have time for games. Where's the bomb?
If you win, I will tell you what you need to know.
Don't do it. Chess can be a really long game.
Do you have anything else?
I have Monopoly.
Monopoly.
I can beat him.
It takes even longer.
He's right. No deal, Petrov.
What about Catan?
I've never played.
Me neither.
I think it's really complicated.
We can read the rules. I think it will not take too much time.
A bomb's about to go off.
Okay, so if you have 2 wood in your area, you can collect
But what about the roads? Where do you put the roads?
Well, I think that you need wheat and stone.
See, it's a really complicated game. Tell us where the fucking bombs are.
We have to play.
We don't have to play.
Yes, we do.
Fine, a quicker game then.
Okay, what about Connect 4?
I'm missing the yellow pieces.
Tell us where the bombs are, Petrov.
Patience, Agent
How
Wilkes.
about we play a little game called Don't Wake Dad?
I didn't know you played.
Used to play with an elderly neighbor. He was a grandmaster.
The father sleeps, but the smallest noise will set him off.
He's talking about the bomb.
I know he's talking about the bombs.
Well, what else have you got?
Hungry, hungry, hippos.
Okay.
You want to leave the fate of the entire city to a game of hungry hippos?
I think I have the advantage.
It's a game of chance.
No. The purple hippo's the best one.
They're all the same.
Fine, what, have you got a better idea?
Dungeons and Dragons.
That'll go on for days.
Buckaroo.
I am missing the saddle. What about Twister?
No, I have a bad back.
How do you have so many board games?
I was a baddie for 20 years.
We need a game that everyone knows, doesn't rely on chance, and is quick.
Yes, quick.
I've got it. A little game we used to play in my homeland many years ago.
17, 18, 19, 20. Ready or not, here I come!
Great, there's the bomb. And we've lost Petrov.
But no, we haven't lost him. He's just hiding here somewhere.
No, he ran out the door.
Why didn't you stop him?
Had a really good hiding place. Do you want to play a game of hungry hippos?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Very clever fun. Foil and Arms and Hogs. Do check out their YouTube channel, guys. I thought that was really good. Yeah, they did mention Operation. Yeah, disappointed how they didn't mention that one there. Yeah, that one was not mentioned there, unfortunately. Yeah, but Reganelite is ASN in Scotland. Cannot post link as it's too long for chat. Or DM it on Discord. Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, obviously, it's the send stuff. It's obviously more in particular for England there. Indeed. I hope you guys got a laugh out of that. That was definitely a lot of laugh. Right, let's keep going because is this on the right lines? Yeah, it is. Okay. Talking of big problems. Nigel Farage. He's taking a significant stake in Kwasi Kwarteng Bitcoin company here. Farage investment in crypto company Stack, headed by an executive chairman Kwasi Kwarteng, comes after Labour asked the Electoral Commission to investigate crypto donations to Reform UK. Why is there not something being said about this? Why are we not doing more about this here? So Nigel Farage has acquired a significant stake in a Bitcoin reserve business helmed by Liz Truss former Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng. The Reform Russian leader has invested £215,000 in Stack BTC, participating in an equity fundraising also involved blockchain.com. Mr. Farage secured 4.3 million shares for his investment vehicle. Fawn in the side limited at the price of 5p per share, giving him 6.3% ownership. The company confirmed that the total investment from this fundraising was £260,000. As Farage said in the investment, I have long been one of the UK's few political advocates for Bitcoin, recognising the role digital currencies will play in the future of business and finance. Yeah, but it's one link to Kwasi Kwarteng. You're going to tell me there's nothing... There's definitely nothing to see here. Come on. Like, you're just treating us for fools. This is definitely dodgy as hell. London and the UK have historically been the centre of the world's financial markets, and I believe she should be making a major global hub for the crypto industry. Yeah, I'm worried that the London hubs is going to become a bit of a crypto industry as well. I don't like that. I'm really not a fan of it. Labour question why Mr. Farage was invested in his money with the architect of Liz Truss' disastrous mini budget. Yep, that's a good question. Labour Party spokesperson has said Nigel Farage has hailed Liz Truss' disastrous economic crashing mini budget as the best Conservative budget since 1986. Yep, never forget that tweet. Now the Reform Russian leader is pouring hundreds of thousands of pounds into the business of the architect of that chaos. What a total slap in the face for families still footing massive mortgages. Yep, people are still paying off those mortgages. Thanks, Liz. Farage proves time and time again that he simply isn't on the side of working people. Yep. Questions have been raised over Mr. Farage and Reform's relationship with cryptocurrency after two donations worth 12 million were made to the party by Thailand-based crypto entrepreneur Christopher Harben. The government has asked the Electoral Commission to investigate crypto donations that Mr. Farage claimed Reform received last year, and they have not been registered. Stack is not the first crypto investment made by Mr. Farage, having previously invested in Tifa. Stack is a London-based firm listed on the UK Challenger Stock Exchange, Aquarius, operated by building a portfolio of companies and challenging their surplus cash into Bitcoin. His core objection is to establish a sustainable Bitcoin treasury. Its core objective, excuse me, is to establish a sustainable Bitcoin treasury through its continuous accumulation of the digital currency. The venture is chaired by Mr. Kwarteng, because there's definitely nothing to see there, most widely recognised for his brief 38-day tenure as Chancellor in 2022, during which he co-authored the controversial mini-budget with Miss Trust. Sorry, Lettuce Trust there. The pound fell to a 37-year low after Mr. Kwarteng announced his biggest tranche of tax cuts in currently half a century, to be funded by more than 70 billion of increased borrowing. He also served Conservative MP for Spelthorne, Surrey, until 2024. Mr. Kwarteng controls 5.4% of stake in Stack Together. With his wife, Harriet, said, "We're absolutely delighted to have Nigel Farage and blockchain.com. I won't support British business, blah, 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 blah." Reform Russia last year pledged to slash red tape and cut taxes on cryptocurrencies to set up Bitcoin to reverse funds if elected, which would allow people to pay tax in their cryptocurrency. How dodgy would that be? You can pay your taxes in Bitcoin. That sounds dodgy as hell. The Treasury recently announced legislation to regulate cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin in a similar way of that of other finance products. This follows efforts to overhaul the market, which has grown in popularity in recent years as an alternative investment product and a way of making payments. The UK's financial regulator is nonetheless warned that it is a high-risk investment and that people could lose all their money from the assets. Yeah. As someone who has dipped his toes in crypto, yeah, it's a very, very dangerous game. Yeah, the government needs to hurry up and close the loopholes on cryptocurrencies with regards to donations. And I think if you're an MP or a politician, like, they really should not have significant, like, it just screams of, it needs to be blocked out. Like, okay, if you're not a politician, then maybe outside of if you're not a politician, that's a different story, because obviously private businesses and whatnot, I couldn't care less. But because you're a politician and you're doing this kind of stuff, you can't tell me that there's not influence there. Like, you just can't. I'm just not buying that for whatsoever, that there isn't there. Crypto, the only thing more overhyped than AI. Yeah, and people have fallen, people have put, their life savings in crypto. And they've ended up with absolutely nothing. Nothing. I only put, it was a long time ago that I invested in crypto, a long time ago. And I remember I didn't put a lot in. I didn't put a lot in at all. And I made a little bit of money on one time, and then I lost a little bit on the other time. But these were quite stable Bitcoins that I had. But it was mainly the main ones. These were off-track ones that you don't know about. Very, very concerning indeed. I don't like it whatsoever. I really, really don't. Now, this is a very interesting story. I'm not quite sure. I don't know enough about about this. So if anyone wants to add more context to this, please do. But we got an interesting story here from the Sunday Times. So, a ban pro-Iran march, MPs and peers tell the Home Secretary. So, the annual A1 Quds March in London will provide the Iranian regime with a platform for intimidation and extremist propaganda, says cross-party group of 90 MPs. So, supporters of the Iran's Islamic Republic carrying tributes to their leader during a Stop the War rally in London on Saturday. So, do I like this group? No. Supporters of Iran? No. But would I call for their complete and total ban? No. Why? Because it's against free speech. It's against, if you can say no to this group, what's to stop them doing this to Palestinian groups? For me, I don't look. people should be entitled to their views, right? But I can understand how people feel about the group. I'm not a supporter of Iran. I'm not a supporter of this regime in any way, shape, or form. I shed no tears for the loss of their leader, even though people there have a difference of opinion about him. But yeah, this like, I don't want to ban this group simply because they're supporters of Iran. And it's also important, worth reminding us, and I have to remind people of this, it was Israel who struck first in all this. Iran did not start this war, Israel did. And people need to remember that. This is a war started by Israel. I'm not a fan of banning this pro-Iran march. But I also would understand why some people would say to me, well, I don't. It's because they shouldn't be allowed. I can also understand some people would disagree with me as well. Because the thing is that if you can ban this group, you can ban other groups. I mean, we know what happened to Palestine Action. Like, I'm looking at this from the perspective of, you know, there's a lot of groups out there that I'm really not supporters of. But there's a lot of groups out there that I'm a big supporter of as well. And the thing is, if I believe in the rights to protest, if I believe in free speech, if I believe in democracy, which I believe in those things, then they should be allowed to do that, but be allowed to protest. But I also understand the concerns behind it. So let's read a bit more. So the Home Secretary is under pressure to ban an annual rally linked to Tehran after pro-Iranian protesters made anti-Semitic comments, carried placards supporting the Supreme Leader. Yeah, Israel are desperate to silence these lot. Jabir Mohammed has been told by 90 politicians, 90 of them. Doesn't say MPs, 90 politicians, guys, so it could be all sorts of people. That the A1 Quds March will provide a platform for intimidation, extremist propaganda, and the promotion of regime hostility to the West. Cross-party group said it will legitimize Iran's agenda and send an unmistakable troubling message given the regime's targeting of dissident Jews and Israelis and British interest. The police have not ruled out seeking a ban on the march, named after the Arabic name for Jerusalem and held in London during Ramadan. Thousands of pro-Iranian protesters, many chanting anti-Israeli and anti-US slogans, and backed by the group, including the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament and Stop the War, marched through London in a separate rally at the weekend. Some carried a banner supporting of the Supreme Leader, killed in the Israeli airstrike, who oversaw the brutal punishment of the Iranian people and the repression of dissidents abroad. Yeah, it's worth reminding us of that. The deceased, Ayatollah, Ali, he brutally killed lots of innocent people under his name. You have to remember that. You know, he was an absolutely vile person. One led chant of, I'm not going to reference here, which refers to a massive massacre of Jews by a Muslim army in the 7th century. And another carried a sign that said Iran had the right to defend itself and bomb the crap out of Israel. Police said a woman in her 60s was arrested on suspicion of inciting racial hatred. The pro-Israeli march carried placards of saying bomb Gaza, bomb Israel, bomb the West Bank, bomb Palestinians as well. Did the pro-Israeli marches after October 7th, did they have that as well? That's a good question. Did anyone highlight that during their marches? Was anyone concerned about the repercussions of that language if they did put such language in their pro-Israeli marches? The Metropolitan Police are preparing for their operation for Saturday's Al-Qaeda event. So it's this Saturday, a pro-Palestinian rally that's linked to other international events that were established in 1979. The Islamic Revolution. There's been calls to ban the event for more than a decade after marches carried the flags of Hezbollah, the Iran-backed Lebanese group, and now prescribed in the UK, a placard calling for the destruction of Israel. Last year, demonstrations chanted Zionism has to fall and carried placards with images of their leader, who was killed in the drone strike. And Peter Pearce across the political spectrum have written to Mohammed asking for firm and immediate action to ban the march. Signatories including the Labour peer Lord, I thought for that was Mandelson there, Baroness Holland Barking, a bunch of people there. Yeah, of course, Nigel Farage. And the letter said the march has repeatedly been marked by arrest for racial hatred and open display of support for proscribed terrorist organizations, anti-Semitic rhetoric, extremist symbolism, and the glorification of violent proxies and reoccurring features rather than isolated incidents. These display intimidating British Jews and erode confidence in the state's ability to protect them. And whilst destabilizing actions abroad have consequences at home, allowing public platforms that legitimize the regime's agenda weakens our credibility internationally, undermines cohesion domestically. This is a pivotal moment that demonstrates resolve against hostile state-linked extremism. But you're also suppressing freedom of speech as well. See here is you're also accepting that you're also suppressing freedom of people's right to speak and protest and free speech and whatnot. Is that not democratic to let people speak their minds? Is it not? Is that not anti-democratic? Now they're saying that they're intimidating British Jews. There may be instances of that. Again, I don't know for sure. This is what they're stating. I am taking it with a pinch of salt, this story, because this is from the Times, however. But if they are intimidating British Jews, then obviously that is a concern. That is definitely a concern. People and their differences, imaginary friends, religion to me as it should. Religion to me is and should be personal. It's organised by Islamic Human Rights Commission, which says it offers a platform for all those who stand for justice against colonisation, oppression, and apartheid to come together. The threshold required for police to seek a ban is high, but a counter demonstration is expected to attract large numbers, which will increase concerns about the ability to guarantee public safety. The Met said it can only apply to Mohammed for a ban if there was a risk of serious disorder that could be managed. However, it was keeping the march under review. The force said officers would take a zero-tolerance approach to hate crime, including anti-Semitism, and support it for a prescribed organisation. Home Office said, while it is for the police to determine whether a protest risks public order and safety, we have robust legislation in place to deal with threatening, abusive, harassing behaviour and incitement to hatred. We expect the police to use the full force of the law. And considering who they are, I expect the police to do that anyway. The government have sanctioned IRGC in its entirety, as well as more than 550 Iranian individuals and its entities, set out robust packages of measures to tackle threats from the Iran regime. This kind of situation should be considered carefully and used when necessary. Deeply troubling messaging, they're saying. A dozen Labour MPs have also backed proposals for the new extremism thresholds, which would crack down on protest groups before they are classified as a terrorist organisation. An amendment to the crime policing bill would give the Home Secretary powers to designate organisations as extreme criminal protest groups if they aim to cause sabotage, criminal damage, obstruction of critical national infrastructure, or serious public order offences expected to be debated in the Lords today. Well, the thing is that if they are doing these things, right? If they are doing a lot of these things, then it's a different story. But I'm sure if this pro-Iranian protest group, if they were actually doing that, we would have already heard about it and they would have already been silenced about it. That's how I generally feel. I generally feel like they would have already been silenced about it if they were. Like I said, I'm not in support any way whatsoever of this group. However, I also believe, again, like, people should have the right to freedom of speech. Like, I don't like the English Defence League. Like, I don't like their protest. I don't like them. I don't like what they stand for, right? But I also believe in their right to have protests, organised protests, just like any other group. Even though I don't approve of them, you know, because again, it's a matter of principle for me. Scott, oh, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Something for the Democratic Penguins Republic. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, we are one off the target, but yes, the group are here. The group are here. They were here this morning as well, for those who know. So yeah, the group is here, by the way. Have I left the window open? Just out of curiosity. I have left the window open. Just a sec. I have left the window open there. I have left the window open. Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure, guys. It's an interesting one. That is for sure. Right, we've got the last story here from Telegraph, and then we got a very, very funny video to see ourselves here. Looks like we're going to be going might not finish till about. We'll see how long this last story goes, guys, because the funny video we got at the end is 5 minutes long. Confetti time, says Viper Scott, with a final super chat here. Thank you so much there. We've reached today's super chat goal. Thank you to everyone who contributed for tonight's super chat goal. Appreciate it. And thank you, Viper Scott. You've been very, very generous today. I really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much for your super chats and the gifted memberships. Very, very generous today. I really do appreciate that. And everybody else who's contributed, thank you. And just for anyone else who doesn't contribute, I just want to make this very clear. Yeah, just you being here really does make a massive difference. And if you can't financially support me, which is perfectly okay, yeah, or if you want to support me in a non-financial manner, hitting the like button, sharing, commenting on my videos, watching my videos, giving feedback, all that stuff helps support the channel, guys. So that's the best way you can support me if you can't support me financially. So I just want you guys to know that. So just because you can't financially support doesn't mean that you're feeling left out whatsoever. No, you guys are helping this channel, and you're helping me, and you're helping the group behind me. Okay, and let's yeah, that's better. So Ollie feels a lot better there. So he wanted to let you guys know that. And again, if you're members, you can use their emojis as well. Right, let's have a look at this last story, guys. So, Labour MPs are in talk to defect the Green Party. Yeah, so the only reason I caught wind of this story is thanks to Twitter. Someone posted it on Twitter basically saying that there was a source within the Labour Party that someone spoke to. Someone said they were considering defecting to the Greens. Now, we kind of knew Zach Polanski has already indicated that he has spoken to Labour MPs already, because he's actually said this in various interviews already. So we know the talks have been there. But this is actually the first time. This is actually the first time that someone within Labour are actually talking, that have admitted that they're talking to the Greens. So we know that Zach Polanski's been making it clear, and we kind of know the conversation has happened. But this is the first time someone actually in Labour are actually considering switching here. Excuse me. Bearing in mind this is the Telegraph, so do take it with a pinch of salt. So it says at least one Labour MP has been approached by the party's whips over concerns that they are planning to jump ships, a source says. So it's a source, okay? So again, this is the Telegraph, so do take it with a pinch of salt, okay? Because remember, papers like these are determined to bring down the Green Party. So the Greens have been in informal talks with Labour MPs about possible defections at Polanski's party searches ahead in the polls as emerge. Telegraph has learned that at least one Labour MP has been approached by Labour Party whips within the past month over concerns that they could defect to the Greens. A YouGov poll published last week showed the Greens had overtaken Labour in voting intentions for the first time, 21% compared with 16%. Hannah Spencer stormed to victory in the Greens in the Gorton Dents by-election last month, seizing the former stronghold constituency from Labour, which came a third behind a reform. A Green Party source told the Telegraph that while talks have so far yielded nothing concrete, they've seen an uptick in interest since the by-election success and before. There are some Labour MPs who see what the Greens are talking about, lowering bills, protecting the NHS and defending human rights abroad, and recognise us rather than the Labours where their values most sit. And yeah, we can. I'm not going to take their polls seriously because, again, this is the Telegraph, guys. Speculation about possible defections to the Green Party will continue to mount if Labour takes a drubbing at the local elections in May, as has been widely predicted. Yeah, they're expected to do, for those who weren't on the Good Morning Show, they're expected to do really well in the London Assembly. Labour's defeat in the Greater Manchester by-election prompted the Prime Minister to write a letter to his MPs condemning Mr Polanski's party as extreme. This is not going to wash. I've said this. This is not going to wash. This is not going to wash with the public. The propaganda from papers and from commentators and whatnot is not going to wash. And the reason it's not going to wash, it's not washing with a lot of people, is because the Green Party are saying a lot of things that people agree with in terms of policies. They're not treating them like a bunch of idiots. Yeah, we know that Reform are treating their voters with contempt by promising the world, but they're not offering actual solutions to difficult problems. Now, people can say, well, the Greens are just promising to tax the rich, and they're going to leave the country. Well, I don't like this idea that all the millionaires and billionaires living in the UK are just simply going to flee the country. It's just nonsense for me. Like, it's just nonsense here. Like, read their policies, listen to what they are offering. I don't agree with every single policy that the Greens have, but they talk to people like human beings. They're not scripted numbers saying you've got to stick with these points here. They are a breath of fresh air that people like. And also green members have a bit more freedom as well. During the campaign, he attacked the Greens' position on legalising drugs and its stance on defence in the bid to stem the loss of voters on the left flank. No worries, Benjamin. Thank you for popping in. Appreciate it. Ministers were also critical of sectarianism campaign as the Greens targeted the constituency of Muslim voters and those in the push to punish Labour for Gaza. Again, I have to stress this, the majority of people in the Galton Denton by-election were Christian, not Muslim. You can read that up. Don't take my word for it. You have Google. Keir Starmer is now facing calls from within his party to learn from the Greens' popularity rather than aggressively attacking them. This is the pressure. If Keir Starmer wants to survive, he needs to listen and stop. You can't brand them as extreme. People are not gonna. It's not gonna wash with the public. It's and also at the same time stealing their policies on immigration. One minister said the Prime Minister's attempts to paint the Green Party as extreme was totally tone deaf. Yep. Labour MPs have also shared a meme comparing Sir Keir to a hapless Principal Skinner in the Simpsons cartoon, in which he said, "Am I out of touch? No, it's the voters who are wrong, and the Greens with their communication skills and positive politics. I mean diverse and sectarian politics." Yeah, I've seen that meme. Lord Hayward, a Tory peer and pollster, said Labour face a very substantial potential electoral threat from the Greens, particularly if they join forces with other parties on the left. There's no need for them to join any other parties at the left. There's no need for them to do that. So the Greens' success in Gordon Denton could be mirrored in London. Yep, like I said. Pollsters also suggest the Prime Minister could lose his own constituency in Holborn and St Pancras. Yep, that seat's under threat for Keir Starmer. The Guardian reported last week senior Labour politicians in the capital had been privately circulating data suggesting Labour could drop from 1st to 4th in May. Mr. Polanski said Labour had entered an existential crisis and no longer had a stranglehold on urban areas such as Greater Manchester. He said that while only a few months ago he felt 30 Green MPs could be voted for in the next general election, he now believes 50 was an unambitious target and that could rise further. A source said, I don't know if he's actually said that. He has said 30 and 40. I don't know if he said 50. Source close to the Whip's office did not recognise the claim that a Labour MP had been approached amid concerns of a possible defection to the Greens. So they've denied that there's been an approach. It could be something in-house, but they've denied it there. But let's be clear, there are talks going on. We know there are talks going on. I think we're all very, very clear about that. I think if it actually does happen, if we actually see a Labour MP switching from the government to the Greens, I think it would be a massive story. It would be a massive story. I think it would say a lot about Labour. Like there are people in the Labour Party who would fit perfectly well in the Green Party, and also it would make a nice attack line for the Lib Dems. He could say, because the Lib Dems can say you've got Tories defecting to Reform, then you've got Labour MPs defecting to Greens. You're both as bad as each other. Because yeah, it would be if they pulled it off. I don't know if it will or not. Definitely have to see closer to the election. That is for sure. That is for sure. Right, guys, we've got one last story to see ourselves out, and it's a good one, guys. One last video. Sorry, video. So video, story, not story. Video. This one is a long one. Like I said, it is a long video. It's 5 minutes long. However, it's Larry and Paul, guys. So that's all you need to know. So yeah, you'll definitely get a laugh out of this one. So if you're not subscribed to Larry and Paul's YouTube channel, do subscribe to them. Anyways, let me play it for you guys here. It's a really, really good one. It's called Trump's Iran War Plan, The Breakdown. From, of course, the Broken News team.
It was up to the elbow. Like all the way up. What? Welcome back to Broken News. Still to come, anti-Semite or Islamophobe. Why you're one or the other, or both, but we are not going to tell you why. First, time to check in with goings-on across the pond in the latest edition of State of the States. I'm joined once again by our US correspondent, Bob State. Bob, welcome. All eyes on the USA's actions in Iran. When it comes to the Middle East, what exactly is President Trump's plan?
Oh, well, that's very sweet.
Sorry, what's sweet?
Oh, it's just very sweet and naive that you think there's a plan. You're like a little innocent child, aren't you, sometimes? Like, will this war fix everything, Daddy?
Yeah, it's a bit rude. I mean, these things don't just happen, do they, Bob? I mean, there must be a plan of some sort, you know, laid out before.
A plan.
Iraq.
A plan. Right, I see what you're talking about. A plan for Iran.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I've got it here, in fact.
Right.
There it is.
That's just a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah, I got it from the draw-marked Plan for Iraq 2003. It's in the Plan for Libya cupboard. You know, in the Plan for Afghanistan office on Plan for Vietnam Street.
Well, anyway, Bob, yeah, Ayatollah Khomeini is dead, which is positive.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
No one mourns the wicked.
You're doing musical theatre in a report about World War III.
Yeah, well, just a bit of levity. You know, it's all been a bit, ugh. But there have been celebrations among Iranians over Khomeini's death. Do you hear the people sing?
No, stop that.
Sorry.
Stop it.
But what I'm saying is that this is a good thing. Do you agree this is a good thing? This is a solid reason, for a war.
You know, it is possible to be happy about the death of a religious tyrant while at the same time being a slightly bit concerned about the mad micro-dick leader of the free world being Bibi's bootlicking bitch and just wading into war.
Yeah, I wasn't saying...
You remember the good old days? Yeah, when a leader might go on telly or radio or whatever and announce that they're declaring war on another country. God forbid have some sort of democratic vote about it in Congress or Parliament or wherever.
Speaking of Parliament, criticism of Sir Keir Starmer by President Trump this week, who said, it's clear I'm not dealing with Winston Churchill.
Yeah,
he's not Winston Churchill, and, you're certainly not Franklin D. Roosevelt, mate.
Well, exactly.
He's more like Gino Di Campo. What with all the shouting and the bullying and the...
What are you doing?
I don't... But is that criticism of Starmer, which has been echoed by Kemi Badenoch and Reform, is that fair?
Right. The Tories and the frog-faced Führer fantasist Farage are constantly rubbing their nationalist nubbin over sovereignty. And then our leader makes an actual sovereign decision not to join in with a spot of illegal warmongering, and they don't like it. Make it make sense, Ed.
I can't.
Yeah, they wank on endlessly about Tony Blair following Bush into Iraq. But when Starmer actually stands up to Trump, he's weak, is he? What, because he decided not to do some illegal bombing?
Sorry, did you say bumming? That's not illegal. Bumming is not illegal.
Well, it has been in Iran. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons we're glad Khomeini's dead.
Yeah, totally. Just time for one more thing before we go, Bob. Surely this war will be over relatively quickly with the sort of military technology at President Trump's disposal. Let's see what he said here about it. We have beautiful missiles like the world has never seen. The best missiles. And these missiles, you fire them and you fire them at a target and they hit the target and they explode. Amazing technology.
Yeah, so what, very different technology to the sort of, benign missiles that you might put on display in your nan's house next to the commemorative plates or something?
Yes, Bob. Yeah. Well, we'll have to leave it there, unfortunately, and we are out of time once again to talk about Donald Trump's long-standing and comprehensive involvement with the child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein.
What a shock.
What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
You went nearly 5 minutes long, and he ran out of time to talk about the Epstein files, guys. What a shame! What a shame! They just ran out of time for the Epstein files. Oh dear. Oh well. I get. What a shame, guys. What a shame. What a lovely story. It was a lovely story, Mandy. Absolutely there. Drapes? Yeah, there was no mention of Drapes. Or Drake. They could have done something there. They could have done something there indeed. What a shame. What a shame, guys. So guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along tonight. Thank you for everyone who gave super chats, and thank you for all your comments. I really appreciate you people coming out to today's vlog live stream. I will do the timestamp as soon as the live stream is over, get that set up for people who haven't seen before. As for Rumble and Patreon videos, I don't know if I'll be able to do them this week. I will see. But because I need to record funny good news videos, and I need to do Speaking My Mind. I haven't got any of them for next week, for the next couple of weeks. Never mind this weekend coming, guys. So I've got to record them this week as well. So yeah, lots of recording to do this week, guys. But we do have a live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. So if you can join me for that, please do. If not, I'll be back live again on Wednesday for Good Morning and Prime Minister's Questions and with the Watch Along series. Thursday night, of course, there will be myself and Wayne Pagan with the Eco Flakes show. And then on Friday, we will have not only the Good Morning show at 11 to 12 o'clock, but I'll have a couple of hours of respite before. At 3 o'clock, we will have the 2-hour show of the 3-year anniversary of the YouTube channel, guys. And we're going to go straight into Friday Frolics with that. So a good, so you'll have Witchy Goth at 1 o'clock. I don't know if she's going to go 2 hours, but if she does, that'll be going to 3 o'clock into when I go live at 3. And then from 3 to 5, you'll have, at 3 to 5, you'll have me. And then from 5 to 7, you'll have Daily Blase. So for a good 6 hours, you can have in the background a bit of Witchy Goth, a bit of Reganelite, and a bit of Daily Blase on your Friday afternoon, guys. That sounds like a good idea to me. And then followed by A. Thompson and Max Robespierre. So sounds like a great, great Friday, guys. So that is to look forward to there. So enjoy the rest of your evenings. Have a great week, guys. Do take care of yourselves as always. But before I go, if you can, please hit that like button. Share us across social media. Subscribe if you haven't already. And again, do check out content on Patreon and Rumble. Consider joining the Discord for free as well. We have a free Discord community that everyone's welcome to be a part of. And I will be return to Games Night this Saturday. For the last 2 weekends, I've not been here for Games Night, but I am back this Saturday for Games Night there. So I just wanted to let people know in the chat. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.